like 40 years old. It's as old as me. No, not really. If there are any children here, maybe don't be here, except I'm glad you are. So let's get this going. Let's bring up Barbara Crampton. Bruce Abbott. And I guess our title character, Jeffrey Combs.
Thank you very much.
This is very exciting. This is the first time we've had all three of these people here, so I think so. I know we had Barbara and Jeffrey here before, but Bruce, I don't think you've been to this convention before, have you?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Okay, yeah. So welcome everybody.
Thank you.
It feels proper and good that you're all here. The thing that I remember that sort of separated this film, in many ways, separated this film from a lot of the other horror of the time, was that it was almost immediately accepted by critics and the fans, which is they don't frequently line up like that, especially in horror. And it played well at Cannes, when it actually premiered at Cannes, if you can believe it. And I remember talking to Stuart about it years ago and saying that the people that his theater company that he thought he was going to be working with in putting this together thought he was going to be making an art house film, but he wanted to make a horror film, and it turned out he might have actually done both. And I'm just wondering, what do you remember that? Because usually, like, a cult film has to wait several, a while before it really becomes apparent that it's a hit. But this did not, I don't think. I think this was maybe not a financial hit, but certainly a hit with viewers, both critically and otherwise. What do you remember sort of about that part of the release of this film?
Yeah, one thing I want to say about that, it premiered at Cannes, but it didn't really officially premiere. What happened was, it was at the market, so they took it to Cannes to try to sell it, and Brian Usna, who's the producer of the movie, somehow finagled an invitation to Roger Ebert, which you guys probably know, to come to the market screening. And they thought if they could just get him there, if he liked the movie, that would help them sell the film. Well, he came to the market screening, and it was only 30 people or whatever. He was there, and he immediately wrote about it. And after that was kind of a really great launching pad for the film. Then you say, it was a critical hit and the fans liked it, but let me tell you, after the movie came out, I went to my agent and I went, oh, this is it, I've arrived, oh my God, my career is going up, I finally made it. And my agent said, I don't know, it's kind of a schlocky horror film, I don't know. And also some of the casting directors were like, yeah, she was in Reanimator, I don't know about that. So I actually think even though the fans really liked it immediately, and we had people like Roger Ebert and Pauline Kael and others, who said that they loved the movie, I think it really took a few years for the consensus to catch on that it really was going to become a cult classic.
Yeah.
I don't remember it the way you remember it. I have a file at home of reviews, okay? And they were definitely mixed.
But the ones that mattered, those were the people that really mattered.
Yeah, that's right. Pauline Kael put it on her top 10. Roger Ebert really liked it. Gene Siskel gave it a thumbs down. However, 6 months later, they had another episode of their show where movies you may have missed in the theater but are on VHS, and they both gave it a thumbs up. So can't figure that one out, but no, I have reviews that are glowing, and then this is the bloodiest, schlockiest thing, avoid it if you can. Usually from like small town Americana markets. But yeah, I don't know why I was collecting reviews. I really don't, because I
Highlight your name. Yeah, he's one.
So it was a mixed bag, but it kind of just kept growing. It just kept growing, and more people saw it with all the different VHS and DVD. It just, to this day, young people are coming up to me and I watched it last night and I loved it. Would you please sign this? So it is. It's a fluorescent evergreen.
Can you each give me a sense of where you were in your acting careers when just before this was offered to you, or before you auditioned for it? Or?
We were all in LA. That's where we were.
I was the seasoned veteran of the group. I'd done a movie for Nick Castle. Well, no, it was after that. Starfighter was after that. The movie's called Tag, the assassination game. It was his first film and my first film. And then I did a miniseries called The Blue and the Gray. And so, I came kind of prepared for what's required of you on a film set in terms of like knowledge of that. But, I didn't ever notice that either one of them were like kind of felt lost. They always seemed, they both, Jeff and Barbara, seemed to be super comfortable in that medium and not awkward. I mean, Jeff was weird. He's still weird, but it's, and, the film, the shooting process was, just pointed up his eccentricities. So.
Yes, well, that's fine. Where was I? Well, I moved to LA. I did a lot of theater, a lot of regional theater. I worked at the Globe, South Coast Rep, and Arizona Theater Company, and right out of acting school, I was a bit of a theater vagabond. Where's there's a play or a season, that's what I was doing. And an agent saw me, and so I came to LA, and then my career quickly just stalled. I mean, I was busy doing theater, and then it was like this new thing, and it was quite an adjustment. I did a couple things, a day here, a day there, or a couple kind of bigger movies, and I did another horror movie some years before called Frightmare, kind of obscure. And and I was doing a play, and the casting director saw me, Anthony Barnell, and said, "You might be right for this." So I read for Stewart, and the rest is kind of horror history here. It's pretty amazing. So that's kind of where I was, just trying to get a foothold on the dance floor. Okay.
Yeah.
I went to school for theater and got a degree in that, and then did some plays in New York City, and then came out to Los Angeles, and I was in a little movie called Body Double, and I had such a small, thank you! I had such a small part of that. I had 3 scenes in the movie initially, and then they cut the 2 mostly talking scenes, and then the one that's left, which you might recall, is still in there. And then, I'm not sure if I did Fraternity Vacation before Reanimator. I feel like I did. And then I did Reanimator. And when I went in to audition for the role, this other girl had the role before me. I didn't audition for it at all. But I was called in to replace her when her mother read the script and told her she wasn't going to do the movie. So they needed another person, and I came in and read with these guys, and Jeff had already had the part, and Bruce had, but it was like a chemistry kind of thing where we all came in, and the audition was 3 hours long, as I recall. We kept doing scene after scene, and Stuart would give us direction and say, go out and work on the material and come back. Then we'd come back in, we'd do the scene, he'd say, okay, make an adjustment here. Go out and talk about it and come back. And so we did that for a long time, and then finally it was just us there at the end, and I thought, well, maybe I got the part. So I did.
So like Stuart Gordon has deep roots in Chicago, obviously. He was one of the founders of organic theater. And then, so he was mainly directing theater at this time. This was his first film. And I'm wondering, did the fact that he came out of theater kind of appeal to you? Because I think you guys had at least a little time to actually rehearse, which was probably unheard of.
Well, that was his insistence.
Yeah, that's
and
what I'm saying.
We were glad about
that's
that.
That's a theater person. That's a theater thing.
Well,
so,
hey, it should be a movie thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, a lot of, I think movies would be better if people had fucking time to rehearse instead of block. Just you move there and you move there, and let's shoot. We're behind. So we had like three weeks of meeting every day, every other day for 4 or 5 hours, and running each one of these scenes. So the shooting schedule for this movie was 18 days, but we were ready. So when a scene came along, we went, oh, we've done this. Okay, got it. Let's go.
Yeah, but we shot in 18 days, but we went over every single day into overtime. Sometimes 3 hours, 4 hours. By the last day, I think it was a really long day because it was right before Christmas Eve that we finished. And I've said this before, I made more money in overtime in the movie than I got in my regular salary. Because Stuart wouldn't stop. I mean, 18 days was not enough for him. He just wanted to keep going. I don't think that I felt like, oh, I really want to work with this theater director who's doing a movie. We were so young, I didn't know. I was happy to have a job, and it was a good role, and I thought the script was fun and funny, but I didn't think, anything other than I was so grateful to be there. And, I think because we all had a theater background, we did have a good shorthand with one another, and we didn't bat an eye when he said, we want to rehearse, I want to rehearse, and we said, yeah, we want to rehearse too, man, let's do that. So I think that did help the quality of the film, and our acting scenes really come together in ways that maybe other movies don't have the opportunity for them to do so.
I agree with Barbara that this movie is really getting some buzz. This is really gonna jumpstart us. Not so much. But it's just a disappointment, but it was kind of actually sort of dichotomy. It's like, wait a minute, people are so enthusiastic about this movie, but it's not translating into, hey, you have an offer from Warner Brothers or from 20th Century, or it just didn't happen for any of us.
But at that time, it was a growing realization of how amazing you are. And over time.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Well, I used to go in for auditions with casting directors, women, and they'd go, oh, you're in that, huh? It's like, yeah, I am. I think that casting director's probably retired now, but we're still here. I think it's because Reanimator was ahead of its time. It was really cutting edge, and so brave of them to put it out unrated. I mean, do you realize the limitations that you have for a movie unrated? Some video stores wouldn't distribute, rent unrated movies. You couldn't advertise with graphics or at all in newspapers. So you really had headwind. But the word, there was no internet, there was no way to get it, but man, people were around the block. They knew about this movie and how, by telephone? I mean, that's all there is. Yeah, that's all, just word of mouth.
Tell your friends.
Is it true as part of the prep for this that Stewart took you to an actual morgue?
Oh, you want to tell the story, Bruce?
Was it wrong? Did all of you?
He said, I have a field trip for you and Bruce. I have an appointment tomorrow to go down to the LA morgue. And we went, yes. No, we did not. We went, what?
With good reason. Can't wait to go to the morgue. Fantastic. Disneyland, morgue.
Sure. Decisions, right?
And then he took me to trashy lingerie to buy lingerie. No, that was for From Beyond. But I just wanted to talk about that for a minute. And I got a field trip too.
Oh, wow. Yours was more fun than ours, for sure.
No, but to go into a morgue and see actual, there were like layers, of dead bodies. That's people with tubes coming out of their sides, and inanimate and definitely dead. It was startling and shocking, but also really solidified the miracle that I'm talking about, bringing the dead back to life. Because once you see that, it's impossible. It's an impossible thing to do. So it really kind of made it magic.
Yeah, and I had much more fear of it than it actually turned out to be. I mean, it's so weird. I don't know if any of you've ever been before, but there's no vibration there. Dead people look like works of art. There's no feeling. You don't. Yeah, your spirit, your life force. There's nothing there, and it's kind of like, I'm not sad. I'm not grossed out. I'm not any of that stuff. And you learn a whole lot. Like how you die is like the color you turn. Like you turn kind of blue if you asphyxiate, or you're green if you're poisoned. And it's it's amazing to see. And the most sensory overload that I got there was the smell.
We wanted to ventilate them so bad.
It was, it's really weird. It does have, dead has a real distinctive smell, and I don't know if you remember the movie.
It's also formaldehydes in the air. There's just all kinds of chemicals.
Yeah, but so when I leave the morgue the first time after I wheel the body in there, you might see me. I'm holding my breath, and the reason I'm holding my breath is because it smells so bad.
Yes, you remember sense memory from that. And the other thing that I think we got out of it too is the guy that gave us the tour had such a dark, ghoulish sense of humor. He was getting such a kick out of these two little shit asses going, what are you dealing with? And he's like, he loved our pain, I think. Well, so we kind of said, you know what, maybe we should find some humor, ghoulish humor in this thing, right? Yeah. We kind of made that decision, Bruce and I.
Let me ask you about the pre-credits sequence in Switzerland. Is that where it's supposed to be?
Yes, of course.
Zurich. That was something that was not originally in the film. That was something that was shot.
Not true.
Not true.
It wasn't a script, but we ran out of time.
It wasn't shot though. Yeah, it wasn't shot initially.
It wasn't shot initially. It was meant to be shot, but we ran out of days and budget, and so something had to go, and they decided, if something's got to go, we can just kind of get rid of that and just start in the hospital. They put the movie together and went, actually, let's scratch some little bit more money together and go on location for one day at this place.
Why was that important though? I think it establishes a lot that in a very.
I think they put the movie together and they realized we were wrong. We really need this.
Well, it set the tone. I think that first scene is so shocking that it set the tone.
I'm glad they did it.
Yeah.
So it was a couple months afterwards that said, we got another day on this. I was like, cool, let's go.
If I'm not mistaken, a couple of the characters, maybe even both of your characters, aren't even in the original Lovecraft story. But I think with Bruce, with your character, I think I remember Stuart saying that he needed somebody normal in the film. they needed someone to stand in for the audience, basically, and just react the way we were probably reacting with it. So how do you play that in a way that is sort of a stand-in for the audience?
Well, first of all, I would say his character is in the original story. He just doesn't have a name.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
If you guys are fans of Lovecraft and you read his writings, they're very atmospheric and very, there's not like a strong, really overarching narrative in it. It's mostly about things that are out of our control and how it can destroy us. And you just get deeper and deeper into this feeling, and he was also big on tone. And so I really feel like Dennis Paoli and Stuart wanted to create a narrative around these kinds of stories that had, so much fullness in them about how you feel, but not in exactly what happened. So they sort of needed to invent certain characters, and certainly over the course of a few movies invented me, because Lovecraft didn't really, famously, he didn't write a lot of women. Although, he was raised by his mom and his aunts, and he was a very, he loved women, but I don't know, I guess, was it a man's world? He just didn't write about a lot of women, and certainly, we just, this whole story between us was an invention, and I also think, Bruce's character is part of the audience, but I also think my character is the audience too. Like, I'm the one that's going, what the fuck is happening here, stop, And then he's going along with it, and he's pulling him, and I'm like, really? Does nobody get that this guy is crazy? No,
Well, it's funny, you're the audience members that think he's crazy, and you're the audience members that think this is amazing. Like, this is so cool. Like, what he's accomplished.
Well, in
bringing
a
this
way,
tissue back to
I know that Dan Kane is other than me, the smartest person in our class. And so what better person to involve in the work that I'm definitely going to continue with or without someone than the other really gifted potential doctor in my class. So he was the perfect person to choose. This woman over here is just an annoyance. We've got work to do, right? I mean, I don't mean that. I'm talking like Herbert, not Jeff. But that is a great dynamic, okay? Guys, I basically intellectually seduced him to pursue something incredible, and it takes his focus away from where it was, and that's a great dynamic to play. For you to play this frustration of like things aren't the same. What's this guy doing? And
well, in acting, they talk about obstacles, so I was your obstacle.
Yes, exactly.
To get to Dan, you had to go through.
And I was your obstacle. I was taking him away
That's
from
right.
him.
Yeah.
A Reanimator is without a doubt a love triangle story. Like, there's no getting around that. It becomes that eventually.
I don't know if it's a love triangle. It is a love struggle for sure, because all of a sudden there's this other preoccupation that has tempted him to turn his focus to something else.
Yeah, I think you're talking about tempted, yet he is tempted because it's so intriguing. The cat thing is, like incredibly enticing. You go like, oh yeah, I can see that. But what happens is that it goes so bad, so fast, that what's he gonna do? Turn around, fix it? He is committed now. Like, there is no turning back from this.
He's also destroyed. Like when Halsey is killed,
and
I mean, this is just chaos. He's in shock, and I'm going, I got the recording. We're good. It's got to have been emotionally assaulting to you. Like, it's just shock.
Yeah.
You are the everyman. You're the person that everyone says, yeah, that would be me. That's how I would. It was just so well constructed. Stewart is a great storyteller. He knows narrative.
None of these people can sort of exist without each other and have a very good movie, right? If we don't sort of interact the way we do, he can't be who he is, and I can't have the loss that I do, and there's no heart. You don't care if this is nothing. If she's not everything to him, this movie doesn't matter. It doesn't have the heart that I know Stewart wanted in it. That's why I'm pretty sure he cast.
And
think
about Halsey is just so destroyed in this movie. I mean, he's ruined. Like, he's not coming back. He's undead, but down in there, right near the move, he actually turns on Hill because of his love for his daughter. Actually comes through. It actually comes through, and he changes and does something to save his daughter. I think these are just great narrative moves, you know?
I'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about David Gale and just
Oh,
how
yeah.
his look and his performance are classic. I mean, they are right out of a Hammer film. He's his own generation's Boris Karloff. Like
The word I would use is arch.
Yeah.
He's very arch and statuesque, and his demeanor. It's really a wonderful actor, and he was great to work with, and such a kind, sweet, unassuming man, and patient. God, he had to be patient. A lot of the time, he's in a pan with a hole in it. You know,
If you haven't watched the making of documentary on the Reanimator Blu-ray, it is half of it is just about all the different. I think there were like 8 different ways they had made him a headless person, or just a head in something. And I was like, I couldn't do that. Like, I couldn't last that long. He's amazing.
well, you know, it's over time.
Yeah.
Also, I just think it's. I don't know what I was going to say. I just think it's really. He does a wonderful performance in this movie.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, after that movie, Stewart wanted to have him in From Beyond somehow. And whoever was giving us the money said, no, we don't really want him, because he had an interesting look and they weren't sure that they wanted to continue, you know, working with him. And I just think that was such a mistake. But Brian Houston talks about that, how they didn't really want him.
You mean it would have been David Gale as Pretorius?
Probably.
That's
yes.
the only place you could put him.
I think that's, I'll ask Brian, but I think that's right.
That's strange.
Did you get a sense, just reading the screenplay, did you get a sense of how extreme the violence was going to get? How extreme and how unusual?
We were so young,
Yeah.
we didn't know anything. Honestly, I just want to say again, I was given a part in a movie, and I read it, and it seemed fine to me. I was like, okay. I didn't think, wow. I didn't analyze it. You know, it wasn't, my brain at that age wasn't like, oh, I'm going to analyze this and see what this is about. You know, It didn't come to me. I was just so happy to have a part.
Well, I did.
You did.
I can
More
tell you
mature than me.
tell you for a fact, I threw the script across the room. I said, this is the most disgusting, out of bounds piece of shit I ever read in my life.
You thought it was a piece of shit?
I thought it was absolutely so far out of bounds. I said to myself, I wrote about this.
Yeah,
I said,
but-
I'm pretty sure I'm never going to
I
work
know you
again
did.
if I do this.
did.
And I didn't want to do it.
But tell them why you did it.
Yeah, I mean, they set me up with like 3 or 4 women to read with, you know, before Barbara came on, and I did not click with any of them. I knew of him before. I knew he was a really good actor. I knew Stewart came from the theater. All that stuff appealed to me, but I just felt like I was trying so hard to craft a career, and this was not it. This was like, oh shit, I'm gonna be in trouble. I just felt like you did something wrong, right? So,
Kind of felt the same
Barbara
way.
came in to read, and there was like, I heard something. I would say it's like a musicality that I heard, and there was something so energetic and fresh about her that kind of clicked for me, and then I went like, okay. And I also saw a lot of guys in the reading room. I was like, shit, I know that guy, and I know that guy. It's like, maybe there's something here that I don't know, because I obviously missed it the first time around.
Well, I think Bruce and I were sort of in agreement with this. I mean, I read it and I went, oh, shit, this is... Oh. But I was at a point where, look, all I want is to have more than a day or 2 or week on a set. I want to learn this medium. I want to be watching the cameras, and I just wanted to learn about this, and I just saw it as an opportunity. Hey, it's a great role, first of all, but I really wanted to just be on on a movie set and learn the ropes. And I just sort of saw it that way. And in reading with you guys, you know, it's like, wait, there's some really lovely stuff here. Yeah. And I remember vividly speaking to Bruce about, look, we have to release all this gore with a little bit of humor. Otherwise, it's going to be just all about that and not about the heart and or the humor that we can find in this dark piece. So I think that you know the tone is absolutely right in this movie. We weren't too cute about our humor. We didn't try to be funny, wink, wink, nod, nod humor. It just kind of came out of character and the situation whenever possible.
The dialogue, some of the dialogue's riot. It's really funny.
Yeah, some of the dialogue is really, our scenes together, just great.
I got to play a lot of emotional stuff, and you know, it was very meaningful to me, my relationship with you and your character, and it just meant something to me because the scenes were pretty meaty in a way, you know, emotionally, and so I was attracted to that as well.
Do you remember, Stuart, when we were doing that scene of where right before your father comes and abducts you, where we're kind of saying goodbye but saying hello again, you know, like...
That's my favorite scene in the movie with you and I.
Yeah. I remember him going like, because he felt, you know, like there was a lot going on here. There was a lot of pain and a lot of, you know, like wishing somebody well, despite the fact he was just probably never going to be together, and you desperately want to be together, and that terrible sort of conflict. And I remember him stepping back and kind of going, you guys, I mean, you're really living this. This is like, are you okay? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of disturbed about like how, despite all of the encouragement to like sell out, you know, he was a little disturbed by how painful I think it felt for him to watch.
Stuart had always admitted that he was afraid his lack of experience as a film director was going to somehow hinder the project. But I want to ask you, what...
I don't know if he ever admitted that
I
to
don't
any
know.
of
I
us.
don't see that. I saw a lot of arguments, discussions, let's say, debates maybe between the DP, the great Mac Allberg, who is an unsung hero, maybe not so unsung for Reanimator.
Where did you get that, Steve? Where did you get that?
Talking to him, actually. Yeah.
Well, maybe he would admit it later.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe not at the time.
Yeah,
for sure. But later he did admit that he was a little. But I was going to ask you about the importance of Mac Allberg to this because.
Well, Stuart would say, you know, I want to put the camera here. You know, we do a portion of we do one angle, and then Stuart would go, I want to put the camera here, get that, and Stuart. Matt would say, you can't do that. And Stuart would go, yeah, I can. I'm the director. I can. That'll work. And Stuart said, no, you're crossing the line.
No, Mac said.
I mean, Mac would say, you're crossing the line. And Stuart would go, what are you talking about? No, I'm not. Stuart, your editor will hate you. And finally, Stuart would... He'd learned. He was learning, but he was kind of resistant to experience a little bit. I mean, they got there, but they kind of had a little back and forth a number of times.
The story, I don't remember who tells the story, but the story I heard was that at one point that Max said, well, it might look good from where you're standing, but over from behind you should look through the camera lens because it looks like shit over here.
Mac was the first one that told me, I was standing by the camera, it was in the basement scene, and he was looking through the lens, and I'm just kind of by him, just kind of osmosis trying to, you know, what's this guy doing? And he pulled his eye away and he said, you know, I think this movie might be pretty good. He saw it, right?
Let me ask you about that cat attack sequence when you've got a cat strapped to your back. That is that's like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Tell me about, because that to me is the perfect blend of like this horrifying thing mixed with comedy, and it's very funny, I think. Tell me about just shooting that, and it's a really physical scene.
It's called the cat scene.
Yeah.
And there is no cat.
Yeah.
There's no cat. It is light swinging, cat screeching, and two actors being really, really specific about where they see the cat, think the cat is. There's no cat. So it is complete cinema, illusion of cinema. Because it's so powerful because everyone calls it the cat scene, and it's all make-believe. It's all suggested illusion. And to me, that's the height of film, right there.
Yeah.
So.
It took him a few times to like hit me in the scene with the cat. You know, like he jumps on my back. They're like, oh, they're moving around so much. Like, you missed. It's like, the cat's supposed to jump on my back. It's like we were just dancing all over the place.
You know, and that lamp swinging, that was Mac's idea. He goes, oh, no, you know, every time we line up, he goes, no, someone swing that thing right now. Every scene, you know, it's kind of swinging shadow through the frame, and it creates a kind of chaos and beauty. Actually, it's quite beautiful.
Yeah. It's a great Hitchcock moment, even if it was
It
accidental.
is.
Yeah.
Hitchcockian, yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
I also want to ask about, because rewatching the film recently, that final scene where all the bodies get up and just, it's chaos, but it's also just, it's just a swarm of naked people. And I'm wondering, I don't know how much time it took to shoot that, but that must have been the weirdest thing you've ever shot, just having all these naked people running around in this really extreme
Classic
makeup.
Stuart Gordon, right
Yeah.
there. No, I want them all naked. Get extras that don't mind not having clothes on.
And I also heard a story, and Mac told a story about trying to avoid showing certain body parts in that sequence. Failing a lot, and having to go back and,
Yeah, just back to Stuart wanting to, have shocking moments.
Yeah.
But it's also realistic. They're
Well,
dead
so he
people.
loved
What are they going to be
nudity all the
dressed?
time. Like he did that total naked production of Peter Pan or whatever.
Well, yeah, he got kicked out of the University of Wisconsin. I think his doctorate in directing program. They said you had to direct a play, and he said, I'm going to do Peter Pan. And they went, oh, that's lovely. Okay, Peter Pan. And no one ever came to rehearsal, and then opening night, the whole faculty are watching Peter Pan, and Stuart said it in the 60s, and it was like blacklight, and Agata DeVita was playing, and all the Lost Boys were naked children, and he got kicked out of
Yes.
Stuart.
Yeah. So, Jeffrey, what is, 'cause again, watching it just a few days ago, I in my head I always remembered that I was never quite sure what happened to Hill when he Stuart West when he at the end of the film. Like, where does he just sort of disappears in a cloud and light, and that's what I mean. Like, what did you think had happened to him at that moment?
Ambiguous, I guess.
Yeah.
He definitely thought he was going to die. He
Right.
throws his notes, and he's gone. So, I
Was
guess.
it in the original script? My notes?
Yes,
My notes.
My notes. Yes, that was a line in the script. Yeah, I mean, that's what's important to Herbert. Okay, I may die, but here, keep the work going. Right?
Bruce, I think one of my favorite scenes with you is, the very end when you basically snap. The you dying, he snaps and just becomes the new Reanimator. But there is a palpable shift in you in that moment. Do you remember the emotional requirement of you in that moment?
Well, yeah, it's also, I'm going to say it, what were we up 21 hours, 22 hours? And, if you're not raw before, you are then. And at least emotionally so. And
You're kind of broken down, and you're kind of real vulnerable.
like, shit, honestly, that scene just seemed so easy and so logical and so what else is he going to do? What is his choice here? He just sort of walk away from this, but it just seemed like it was just so obvious that like you said, you just get to watch him break.
You know, Bruce, it doesn't. It's not needed there because you see in your eyes that decision.
Yeah.
But then the music is there. There's a note, a tone that goes right in tandem with your thought, and the audience goes, "We know what he's doing now." And also that blackout where he's over her with love and just injecting her, and the whole thing irises down to just the fluorescent going away. Whoever thought of that? Yeah. And then the scream in the dark. Oh my God.
Barbara, one thing that I remember discovering, again, rewatching it recently about your character, about Megan, was that she's supposed to be like just intellectually about on par with everybody else in the film. I think she goes to school there, right? Yeah, she's not just like his daughter, the dean's daughter. She's like a
No, they're going to get together and study.
yeah. But I'm saying, like, she is not just like a damsel in distress. She is,
Or a bubble-headed co-ed.
yes, certainly not that. But I'm saying up until that very end, she's like on equal footing with everybody else, I think. And that had to be really, like, you had to appreciate that to a certain degree, that was written that way, and that you got to play it that way. Yeah, she was. It was not. I don't think anyone in the film was underwritten. Yeah.
No.
No, we all got our special
We all
moments.
got our moments, definitely.
Let me actually. I'm going to make sure we get you guys some questions. There's a microphone here in the aisle. I'm going to ask one more question, then I'm going to throw it to you guys. There is, looking at the deleted scenes on this, there is a whole, it's not a subplot, it is a subplot about Dr. Hill hypnotizing everybody, about able to hypnotize and he practically does hypnotize everybody in this cast at one point, but it all kind of got pulled out, but that was the reason he's able to control all the...
You know why I think they did that? I think they did that because they knew at the end that it would be this severed head willing all these dead bodies to come alive, and so they felt that you had to set that up earlier, that he had this power, right? And then I think when they were cutting it together, they go, we really don't need that. It's sort of...
You just need his voice. Like, his voice is enough to like, control whatever.
Right, so they decided to get rid of that, and I actually think it was sort of a sci-fi kind of thing that maybe was out of sync with the tone of the movie, actually. It's still there, but kind of at the level that it should be, as opposed to being kind of overt and obvious.
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely the right decision. Okay, yes, first question.
So,
Is
the
Is
40th
the mic-
Is that mic
It's
on?
not on.
Hold on, don't touch. Try it again. I'll give you mine if it doesn't.
Yeah. There it goes.
You got
There
one.
it goes.
You're good.
So the 40th anniversary edition just came out with Ignite Films, and me and my wife were just watching it 2 weeks ago when it came, when we finally got it. This is for Jeffrey. During the when you're wheeled down with toe tag and everything, like, you put your sock on over the toe tag, you don't take the toe tag off. What was that, like an intentional thing?
Yeah. because of time. You know, on film, you know, it's one shot. It's not cut. There's no cutaway. So I've got to get up, throw the thing off, grab my socks, put them on, put my shoes on, tie them, pick up my bag, and let's go. And no delay on anything, so fuck it, keep the tag on.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a pretty funny scene, and the Blu-ray release is great, the 40th anniversary. I know we were talking to Barbara. She said that she already got in the bobblehead and everything, took forever, but like it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, didn't you get some bobbleheads?
I didn't, I signed a box for a bobblehead today, but I didn't see
No,
it.
but I think they're going to give you, because they gave me some bobbleheads, so I think you're getting some bobbleheads.
Yay. A head in a pan and a bobblehead on my shelf. That's great.
Not really a question, but like so many actors, and this is for Barbara, like so many actors and actresses, it's like they play the same role every single movie, and then there's you, and you do something different. Like no matter what the television show is or what the movie is, you always bring something different and like unique to the table. And like critics always talk about like how you combine like vulnerability and strength, and they always applaud your performances, no matter what movie you're in. I think we're all thankful for that.
I've probably been guilty of writing that once or twice about you. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as an actor, some people want to play the same thing because they feel comfortable in that way. I don't. I purposely want to play different things, and I think I've said it to these guys before, but the older I get, I feel like maybe I'm not going to get the leading role anymore, so I want to keep acting and be the Betty White of horror, so I need to become a character actress. And no, that's fine with me. I was just in a movie where I wore a wig and I sang a song, and I'm like, I want to wear dark wigs. And then I'm in another movie with Bill Moseley that hasn't come out yet, where I wear a blonde long wig and I have other glasses on. And I'm kind of doing that on purpose because it's just more fun in a way. I don't want to play myself or the same thing. Anyway.
I actually used to want to be a mortician's assistant, so I really love this movie. I did want to ask how you guys got the glow for the serum, for the Reanimator serum.
I didn't hear that.
The glow for the
Glow for the serum. How did you do that?
How did they get it?
It's from a phosphorescent algae in the ocean that glows. It's the same stuff in a glow stick. Kids, it's extremely poisonous. FYI. They kept telling me, don't get this on your hands, and if you touch tell us, because you'll die, that kind of shit. It's also what they spray at crime scenes to see if someone tried to clean up blood. Luminol is called. You ever watch Forensic Scientist? They sprayed luminol and they found, So it's two chemicals. That's why you break a glow stick and it boom. And once they interact, they bang. And it doesn't last a long time, maybe 30, 45 minutes. And then, they had to give me another needle that's good, So very effective. Well used in this movie.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. So, in the movie, there's a lot of practical effects with the gore and blood or anything, but just
No,
no way.
I don't want to see that.
No way. Anyway, yeah, that's not seen a lot these days. But what was the grossest or longest thing that you filmed?
All
The
of it.
gnarliest scene.
All of it. Listen, you see something, well, you guys will agree with me, you see something for 10 seconds. We're looking at it all day. It's just kind of assaulting visually after a while. And it's sticky as shit. It's sugar-based, and I learned to get a spray bottle with water in it, if this is all bloody, and I go, ha, 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 ha. Good, okay. Because, it grabs you, and you manage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind all the special effects and the blood and the, whatever the gore is. I think it's kind of cool. It's silly. Everybody gets giddy about it when they do a good gag. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, that looks so amazing! Are you kidding me? That's so gross!" We're all laughing about it. I think it's kind of cool, most of it.
Stuart was really meticulous about things being actually reality, that it looks like it's supposed to look when that happens, kind of stuff. He was very, very, very much like, I want it to look real, not phony. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So this question is specifically for Jeffrey, but also open to both of you. In the audio commentaries and here, you've shown like a really big appreciation for filmmaking and for like how the camera moves and how it's edited and stuff. So I was just wondering if in your career you ever considered being behind the camera and like directing a film or editing a film or anything like that.
You know, I guess I'm lazy. You know, because when you're going to direct a movie, it's a lot more time-consuming, a lot longer arc of how you're living with something, and you're in the middle of a firestorm of all the decisions that have to be made, a lot of pressure, and I've thought of it, but I just, it seems like a high mountain to climb to get there. I'd love to direct something, but I just don't want to go through all the nonsense to get there. You want to offer me something to direct and I like it, yeah, we'll talk. But I don't know. I'm an actor.
Thank you so much.
No, you're fine. I was gonna say we have to end this pretty soon. I'm gonna give you one more. We got one more question. But go see them at their booth later.
Yeah, come talk to us.
Yeah.
It's just a really quick question. There's like a lot of like intense scenes in the film, obviously. I was just going to ask, what was like the easiest scene to film, and what was like the most difficult scene to film for you guys?
Easy scene.
The easiest thing to film and the hardest thing?
Like, as in like easiest and most difficult scenes to film for you guys.
What are the
Listen. I think all scenes have their difficulties no matter what's going on. Sometimes you have an emotional scene that you have to do. Sometimes you have a lot of dialogue. Sometimes you have to be running. Sometimes you have to be defiled by a headless guy. They all have their amazing qualities to the scene and their, difficulties that you have to overcome. So I never think of any scene as being harder than the next. I don't look at it that way.
Hardest thing for me in Reanimator, it just kind of clicked in my head. There's a scene where I wake up downstairs and everything's been ransacked and my notes are gone, and Dan comes down and he took everything. He took my serum, and then I had to say, except for what I have upstairs. And I had to say that because we use it at the end of the movie, right? Oh, I have a plan over there. So I couldn't not have it, so I had to say it to move the plot forward. Well, what a fucking difficult thing except for what I have upstairs. It's like, oh my God, it just seemed, it was so hard for me. It's called exposition. It's kind of like, I had to say that, and it felt really clunky and artificial to say, but I did it.
Yeah, maybe so. That's a good point, Jeffrey. Is maybe like some of the dialogue. Sometimes you have to make the dialogue sound like it's really coming out of your mouth and it's real. And sometimes you might read a piece of dialogue and it doesn't sound right to you.
Yeah.
And you don't want to say it that way. And sometimes you ask the director, can I change the line around a little bit because it doesn't sound natural? And then they say, okay, what would you like to say? And then some people say, no, you can do it. You can figure it out the way it is.
And that's Stuart every time. He would
he just wanted you to say what was on the page, so you had to find a way to make it work. And I had a line in From Beyond that where I say something like in the kitchen where I say, oh, this is like something where Van Leeuwenhoek is looking, this is as exciting as when Van Leeuwenhoek first looked through a microscope and saw an amoeba. And I thought, that's really kind of hard to say.
Just a bit. Thank you.
Yeah, it's probably the dialogue.
But because we're all kind of from the theater, the play's the thing, and it's unheard of in the theater for you to go, I know Shakespeare wrote this, but I think can I not say that or say something else? I was really surprised when I was on a guest star on some TV show, and the lead goes, "Yeah, I'm not going to say that," and I'm going, "What's my cue then?" It's so because Stewart's from the theater, you do not do that. You just don't do that. The writer is sacrosanct. He spent a lot of time thinking about, and frankly, Stewart is the writer of Reanimator, Dennis Paoli and the others, but at Stewart's direction. So he's invested in what's on that page, and so he wants it to be realized, and that's our job to do that.
Barbara, Bruce, and Jeffrey, thank you so much for coming.
Thank all of you.
Please go visit them at their booth. In the room tonight. Get ready for Terrifier, everybody.
Here's to Chicago.